We are absolutely thrilled to welcome you to the 23rd podcast episode of Let's Talk. A heartfelt thank you to our new followers for your support and encouragement. Our podcast is not just another conversation, it's a deep dive into the inspiring stories of our guests. If you're here to aspire success in your career, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel. Without further ado, let's get started. It's Let's Talk, and I'm your host Aisha. Today with us we have Mr. Sumar Loomba, Vice President Growth and Strategy at Delivery at KPI Partners, where he is leading the AI first growth strategies and helping enterprises build scalable data driven and AI native organizations. With extensive experience in digital transformations and GCC leadership. And he is the expertise in AI and forefront of driving adoption of agentic AI and autonomous decision system. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Aisha.
So, to start off, sir, could you please let us know about your journey you have built across cloud, data, and now AI first enterprise transformation? Could you take us through your journey and share the experience that you have shaped your perspective on building AI driven organizations?
Absolutely, Aisha, and thank you very much for having me here at the podcast. I'm really glad. So, I've been really fortunate to have been to have worked with clients on their business mandates while technologies were evolving over the last 17 plus years. Seeing clients thinking cloud as a destination to cloud being a starting point, and that's the velocity we should all be aware of while building organizations or while building solutions for the enterprises we work in. Technologies, in my view, has always been incidental. And if you would see last decade, we
Okay.
were in a way moving towards consumption. We started with cloud like around 15 odd years back, and cloud brought in abstraction on the infrastructure side. Data analytics lent reasoning to whatsoever organization and enterprises were trying to do. And AI is all about consumption. We need an understanding if any of the undertaken tech initiatives within our organizations and enterprises has an influence on the way businesses are making decisions. If yes, we should move ahead, or else there is no expected ROI and we should stall those initiatives. My early career post my MBA in supply chain and finance was into business strategy and digital transformation.
Okay.
What that taught me is that transformation is about three things in sequence: process clarity, technology enablement, and outcomes measurement. The company that got this sequence right thrived. The one that tried changing it and started with technology first and invested into technology before having an understanding into what processes they are trying to influence, they failed. Until 2019, I had played multiple roles across technology sales, solutioning, consulting, account management, so on and so forth. And it was only after 2019 when I felt it was the right time for me to foray into data and analytics and start building data-led organization and functions. Last few years, I've really shaped up my vision, advising companies to fix process and start using data as an enabler. I have seen companies invest tens of millions in data infrastructure, build beautiful lakes, pristine pipelines, governance frameworks, but data wasn't actually moving business outcomes. Why? We need to look at some of these things because they were focused only on the infrastructure, not on the question what decisions are we trying to make differently. Few things that I've learned and that have stayed with me and that actually made me where I am today. Number one, always start with the business problem. I mean, not the technology.
Get
Then
it.
comes accountability architecture, which matters more than capability architecture. And lastly, transformation is incremental, not revolutionary.
Get it, sir. That was really an inspiring journey. So, moving on to the next question. Many organizations are experimenting with AI, but only a few are creating measurable business outcomes. In your experience, what separates successful AI transformation from those that never move beyond the pilot stage?
Absolutely, Aisha. And this is very interesting and close to me. I'm not sure if you are aware, I was a keynote at Data Engineering Summit a few months back where KPI was one of the sponsors and gave my point of view on how foundation mismatch, semantic chaos, lack of governance are failing Gen AI initiatives to go beyond pilot phase. And then there are reasons as well, right? Why enterprises are struggling to make progress on this front, and that predominantly happening because of legacy platform inertia, And many a times happening because there are fragmented data across disconnected systems within the enterprises, the way they have grown organically and inorganically over last so many years.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an answer how this can be fixed that no one would like to hear at the start of an AI project, but I'll be very honest and candid with you. The difference between the organization that move AI from pilot to production and the ones that live within the pilot phase forever is almost never the technology alone. The problem is not the model, it's not the infrastructure, it's not even the data foundation itself, though it's very critical. It's something much simpler to understand. What exactly is that? We need to have clarity about what
What?
business outcomes we are trying to move and willingness to accept the consequence when we are unable to move that.
Yes.
As published by World Economic Forum as well, and I've been quoting, requoting this multiple times at different forums. 74% of enterprise Gen AI initiatives fail to move beyond proof of concept into production. Not because the AI wasn't sophisticated enough, but because the operating model underneath it wasn't designed to absorb it. Uh, you know, if you want some sort of an example, I can quote that. I mean, there was an insurance company that was our client at KPI Partners. I mean, they had built an AI model for claims processing that was technically very sophisticated. 94% accuracy on day one within the pilot phase. They deployed it. Within 3 months, accuracy dropped to 71% in production. Claims got delayed. Customers started to raise concerns and complaints started coming in. And here is what happened. Nobody owned the mess. And that's one of the reasons I'm talking about that one of the consequence of bad operating model that GCCs or enterprises are trying to scale AI on top of it.
That
Uh,
is.
Here is and there is one more thing that I probably would want to emphasize on that what actually separates the winners in this particular race. Number one is written, agreed, board reportable business metrics. I mean, we need to be very clear was what business metrics are we trying to chase. Second is we need to define owners and accountability metrics as well. Who is owning what? And last is willingness to accept and learn from failure as we move ahead.
That was really a fabulous insight, sir. So, moving on to the next question. Global capability centers are evolving from execution hubs to innovation and outcome driven organization. What capabilities do you believe every modern GCC must build to stay competitive over the next 5 years?
Surely, Aisha, again, very important question. The way we are seeing GCCs evolving and getting their setups within Indian ecosystem, within Indian IT ecosystem, I would rather say. A couple of things I would want to highlight here. Number one, I feel that each and every GCC should start shifting their talent profile from deep technical to domain technical hybrid. The GCCs has been building its reputation on technical depth, excellent engineers. They are hiring strong data scientists, uh, tons and tons of partnerships with hyperscalers, cloud, and AI firms. That technical depth would remain important even in future, but it is no longer sufficient for outcome ownership that we all are trying to move into business domain as deeply as they understand the technology. We need to have domain experts who can work hand in hand with the technical experts and start bringing in business nuance as we keep on developing newer and newer AI models, newer and newer AI applications. That's one. Second is a system thinking over a component optimization. Traditional GCCs optimize component. Their entire focus has been into how do we process claim faster, how do we build pipelines more efficiently, how do we reduce cloud cost. Modern GCCs need to think about systems. How do we redesign the entire workflow? Do we need this process in the first place or not? And AI becomes an enabler of that simplification rather than workaround for a broken process. Then comes accountability architecture. And I have already stated this. Majority of the GCCs that I have come across, they have delivery accountability. They are measuring their success on transactional metrics. That if we have completed the migration 6 weeks ahead of schedule, what sort of SLAs or uptime we are measuring our success against. But ideally, they should move that mindset from measuring their success on transactional metrics, but they should move, if whatsoever work they are doing, is that work moving any of the business metric? That's the right way to think about the quality of our work.
Get it, sir.
And last but not the least, progressive authority negotiation. GCCs should start taking more and more ownership. I mean, not just on the technical front, but on the business front as well.
That was really an amazing insight on GCC, sir. So, when you work with global enterprises today, what are the biggest business challenges they consistently struggle with, and where do you believe AI can create the highest impact? Like, is the biggest technology data, talent, or organizational change?
Surely. Uh, I would rather, give you a bulleted point here, Aisha. See, enterprise treat the way I'm seeing enterprises and GCCs and large organization working at the moment. I mean, everybody is running behind bringing in AI in some shape or form without actually assessing the need of it. And are treating AI as a technology problem, which ideally should not be the case. It's an operating problem. It's an operating model problem. Across all the failures that I've seen, I see four structural issues within the organization. One is no clear accountability. When AI makes a decision, who owns it? Most enterprises cannot answer. Second is weak data foundation. Enterprises deploy AI on data that was never governed, that was never meant to scale or to deploy AI workloads. Third is no freshness discipline. Data refreshes on a schedule nobody has defined based on actual business latency requirement. That's a big gap and need to be addressed. Fourth, no operating model for artificial intelligence. 90% of the enterprises are expecting hybrid human AI teams within 3 years from now, but only 20% have formal governance for how those teams work. 80% are still contemplating on what should be done to move towards, embedding that operating model within their organization. When these four gaps are fixed, AI creates measurable impact. And this is what I have to say.
That was really insightful. So, moving on to the next question. Many AI startups have great ideas but struggle to work with large enterprises. From your perspective, what qualities make an enterprise leader say, let's work with this specific startup?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen this a lot. I've been there. Last three organizations of mine since 2019, I have been in startup ecosystems, right? And I've experienced this firsthand. So enterprises get, approached by hundreds of startups. Some get funded, some get pilots. Very few get production relationship. Here is what I have observed about the ones that do. Number one, there are startups that solve a problem enterprises knows it has. This sound obvious, but it's not. Majority of the startups solve problems enterprises doesn't even know it has yet. They are visionaries, they are ahead of the curve, and enterprises say that's cool, maybe in 2030. The startups that get traction are the ones that walk into the enterprise and say, I know you are doing the thing that's costing you $3 million. If I get to work on this, I bring in operational efficiency and I'll be able to save 20% of the $3 million which you are putting on table. Second scenario is there are startups that can't speak enterprise language. This is where so many startups have failed and are failing even today. They come in speaking the language of AI, start showing jargons, agentic systems, frontier models, vector databases, context engineering, ontology, knowledge graphs. To be very honest, a CIO or a CIO doesn't care what sort of underlying technology you are talking about. He's only bothered if you can bring in efficiency when it comes to business process, business workflows. And that's what each and every startups need to learn. If startup can start answering a question and start talking the language that, I mean, let's say for an insurance organization, if startup can reduce claims processing time from 14 days to three days, that's relevant for them. Then comes a third sort of startups who have built institutional knowledge, I mean, not just technology. A startup that has solved a problem for 10 other competitors in the in a particular domain, for sure that startup has an opportunity to build institutional knowledge, and that can take a startup to a much longer distance and much deeper into the conversation it can strike with the enterprises. And that's what would intrigue the enterprises to start working with such sort of startups. Lastly, if startups are willing to embed. The startups that get real production relationship are the ones willing to embed a team into the enterprises, not remotely, not as vendors, as partners in the problem solving.
That was really great, sir. I think like a lot of future startups will be helpful from this. So moving
Thank
on to
you.
the next question. At SNS Innovation Hub, our mission is to build 1,000 AI startups over the next decade. If you could give one challenges to these founders, what enterprise problems should they focus on solving to create meaningful business values?
Surely, Aisha, I'm going to talk about a challenge that's not the obvious one. I'm pretty sure that you would have seen a couple of such problems that can be solved. Everyone will tell you solve for enterprise with legacy infrastructure or build for real time data processing or create better explainability. These are all real use cases, but I want to point you towards something really different. Focus on solving the accountability and operating model vacuum. That's the problem statement I probably would suggest the new set of founders to solve. Here is what exactly do I mean by that. Enterprises deploy AI everywhere, but they do not know who owns the outcome when something goes wrong. When an AI model makes a wrong decision, denies a loan, flags a customer for fraud incorrectly, nobody has clear accountability. And they do not have a coherent operating model that says, here is how humans and AI can work together. Here is who decides what. Here is how we scale this without losing control on what exactly are we trying to deploy. This is the massive gap, and it is almost entirely unsolved as on today. Even the World Economic Forum just published a research showing that 90% of enterprises expect hybrid human AI to be standard in next 3 years, which I already have stated. But trust me, 80% of the organization are still scrambling to figure out on the fly what could help them design deliberately. So that's a startup opportunity for me. Governance, decision architecture, operating model templates. I mean, not the AI itself, the scaffolding that makes the AI trustworthy and scalable.
That was really fabulous, sir. So moving on to a fun rapid fire round. One AI
Uh-huh.
technology you're most excited about today.
Uh, Context engineering, because I guess the real meat is in bringing nuance to the AI model, which each and every organization is trying to build.
Great. One enterprise process you'd automate immediately.
I would say vendor rebate reconciliation. I mean, it sounds unglamorous.
Okay. Moving on to the next question. Data first or AI first?
Data first, always.
Okay. Build in house or partner with startups?
Build in house for data foundation, partner with startup for application layer.
Great. One mistake enterprises make while adopting to AI.
Enterprises are starting with technology instead of starting with business outcomes, which is a grave mistake.
Okay. That's all for today. So that was great talking with you, sir. Like most of our viewers would have gained a lots of valuable insights from you. So until next time, this is Aisha signing off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.